you knew you were in a bubble and you could feel yourself getting exhausted. Like, how did that feel?
Literally exhausting. That's the only word. And I just hate the idea of being exhausted now. Like now I've really realized, especially with the Balance Theory and the Balance Theory podcast, that the balance is just, it's holistic, it's ever changing, and you can enjoy balance. You don't have to do absolutely everything at absolutely every minute.
Welcome to The Balance Theory, a podcast aimed at arming you with tools and tips so that you are well equipped to not only identify and define, but own your own definition of balance. I'm your host, Erica, and thank you for joining me today. Hey Balancer, thanks again for tuning in to another episode of the Balance Theory podcast. I don't know about you guys, but I find that when I'm tuning into podcasts, it's something I really look forward to. It's normally when I'm either driving to work, I'm going for a walk, or maybe I'm even on the train. I know for a lot of people as well, it's their downtime. So really happy that you're choosing to spend that with me. Now this week, the big focus is all about you. It's about our beautiful Balancer community that we've grown and developed almost over the last year. We're almost at our 1 year anniversary. And I'm just constantly getting so many beautiful messages, requests, and people just sharing their takeaways or things that have really connected with them on the podcast. And it completely warms my heart. And so what we're actually going to do today is we are interviewing one of our listeners, someone who's reached out to me personally to share how profound different areas or topics have been in their personal life. And I thought it would be really cool to pick their brain and pull apart the theory a little bit deeper and see, I guess, what the biggest takeaways have truly been for that person. Now, before I introduce her and tell you a little bit about what our discussion is going to be around today, I have also had quite a few requests on books and other podcasts that I personally listen to. So I thought I'd just open and share that with you all. So what podcast does a podcaster listen to? It's a great question. I guess my favorite podcast, I have like different podcasts for different interest areas of mine. So one that's quite similar to a lot of the topics that we discuss on this podcast is Rise and Conquer podcast by Georgie Stevenson. That's really great for like mindset. I almost take it as like life coaching, to be honest, but I love just tuning into her episodes, and she has amazing guests as well. I also love listening to The School of Greatness by Lewis Howes. That's where I go to really learn something new, where I really just want to educate myself. He has a lot of like doctors and sciencey people on. There's always something really interesting about the human body or performance, energy, all those sorts of things. So I love listening to that one as well. Another one more for like businessy type stuff is the Boss Babe podcast. That's hosted by Nadia and Danielle, and they're always interviewing really amazing entrepreneurs and sharing stories, and I feel like it's just a really comforting way to, I guess, touch base with my own journey ongoingly. And lucky last, this might be a bit of a shock to some of you, but I also really have this thing for Case File, which is a true crime podcast. I don't know, sometimes I just love tuning into a good thriller crime, which is actually quite strange because I hate scary movies. I think it's more like the detective guesswork of it. So as I'm listening, I'm trying to guess or preempt, I guess, what's happened in the story. But the worst is they just don't give you a disclaimer when it's not resolved. So you end up listening sometimes to an hour and 20 minutes and it's like, but the killer hasn't been found. It's like, damn it. But yes, that is one of my go-to podcasts as well. In terms of books, at the moment I am reading a book called No Rules Rules, which is by the founder of Netflix, and basically just goes through how he structured his company and the Netflix culture, I guess, what makes them different, how they've done different things in terms of business. So they've done things like remove vacation policy, paid leave, all these weird tactics that have worked really well in their favor. So that's been a really cool one to open my mind, I guess, about how to run a team or a business. And for all the books that I read last year, you can jump over to our Instagram. I did do a post with my top 20 reads of last year, so you can go and check that out. But if I had to pick two at the moment, it'd probably be Limitless by Jim Quick and another book called Activate Your Brain by Scott Halford, who we actually had on the podcast, and his episodes are 14 and 15. If you do want to get a little sneak peek into, I guess, what he's about, his content, before you go in and commit to the book. Alrighty, so that's my little 2 cents for the week. Now on to today's guest, beautiful Nadia. I've known Nadia for a couple years now. So she was one of our early goers at ES Fit Bootcamp. So for those of you who don't know that, that fitness business that I run with my best friend did originally start as a boot camp. So that's been a couple years running, and Nadia is one of our OGs. So we've sort of got a bit of history there, but she recently reached out and let me know, I guess, just how the podcast has helped her a lot in her own life, which I was so touched about. And she's just got the most beautiful personality. I thought it would be perfect to have her on and just have a really nice raw chat with someone who's just connected with the theory. And I think a lot of you are going to resonate a lot with what we spoke about today. Some of the things being, before tuning into the podcast, her idea of balance was something that was just super exhausting. She felt like she had to be like too much in all the areas and do all the things all at once, and it was just tiresome for her. She felt like she could never get on top of her shit, basically. So we go through a little bit of a discussion about her initial concept of balance, which is something you guys might still be personally feeling. Then we talk about things that make you feel bad about not reaching your own balance or what you think a balanced life should be. Then we bring it all around and really just talk about how you got to stay in your own lane and put yourself first. And again, that guilt that comes with self-care, try and get rid of that, because it's all about protecting your energy. We also chat about the importance of high quality downtime. And if you're someone who feels like you need to be in control of everything, you're also going to love what Nadia has to say about her realizations when it comes to that. Little bit of a different episode this week. I hope you guys like it. Feel free to give me your feedback through email or via DMs. And I can't wait to hear all of your thoughts. Let's get into it. Beautiful Nadia, welcome to the Balance Theory podcast.
Thanks for having me. I'm so excited.
No, me too. It's really nice when I get to interview people I know or have known for a while, because in this sort of setting, you have different conversations that we would have had, when we're working out or at uni, whatever the case may be. So it's
100%.
Really nice to have you.
Thanks for having me. I'm so excited to get stuck into it.
Yeah. Well, I know that you have been one of our OG listeners from the very, very start. So I thought it would be cool to start chatting about why you were drawn to the podcast and I guess what's kept you here all this time. Why are you still listening to me chewing your ear off every week?
Every single episode, every single week I have listened and I've loved every minute of it. So I came across the podcast because we used to train together, we used to go to uni together, and then I was OG ES fit as well.
Yes, you've
haven't
been
been showing up lately. I know Simone is always on my back.
But you do have the original less attractive products to prove it.
Oh, absolutely. Yes. And I love them. So I was drawn to the podcast simply because you were talking about it. You were really, passionate about it and excited. So I was like, I'm going to support my friend. I'll listen to the first couple episodes.
So you did a pity listen.
100%. That was definitely a pity listen. I was going to see
Thanks to anyone doing pity listens right now.
Yeah, but this is definitely a pity listen from all my friends. So I was just like, let's see what she's banging on about. And a couple episodes in, I was like, wow, she's actually, she's really hitting hard, isn't she? She's got a few pain points.
Yeah, hit a few, struck a few chords.
Definitely a few chords. So it was just natural to listen, and I've loved watching you, succeed and do well. And
thanks, honey.
I'll support as much as I can where I can.
I'll have to bring out all these new different things. You can continue to be the OG trialer of them all.
Oh, 100%. I will do whatever you do. Whatever you do, I'll be the first one to try it out.
I appreciate it. Well, since you've been here for so long, what do you reckon? So obviously, you've found the content relatable, but I guess for anyone listening, they may have their own reasons why they've stayed on with the podcast for so long. What do you think really is the key thing for you about the whole concept?
So when I was listening, I think it was in the first few episodes, you were doing the rate your life out of 10 in the 3
areas.
different departments.
Yeah.
So prior to this, I've always kind of been committed to being better than yesterday, doing all the things, journaling, meditating. I was going through a phase where I was trying to do all of it at once. And we'll get into that one later. That was something special. That was the roller coaster.
Yes.
But really what I've taken out of it is more of a holistic approach, kind of getting out of my own bubble and having a more bigger, a wider perspective on what balance is at different times of your life and at, different times of the day.
Yes.
It's not just... The whole day is a roller coaster.
Yeah. You go from being balanced to something else and then back and then turn and
100%.
Fully get that. No, I love that. I think that encapsulates quite nicely, I guess, what the variety of guests have to offer. So I'm really glad that that's what struck a chord with you. But before we kind of get into, I guess, some really key points that have come out and chat a bit about concepts within the framework, why don't you tell us a little bit about who you are, who the hell are you, and what do you do?
So, who the hell am I?
It's a great question.
What am I not? I am a ray of sunshine, I would like to say.
I would like to confirm.
Oh, thanks, babe. So, I run a couple businesses. I also work full time. So, I have a plant business that I run on the side. I kind of started that during coronavirus, and like I love being outdoors. I love plants, so I was like, why not make some money out of that?
Get your green thumb in action.
100%. And I'll hook you up with some good plants too.
Love it.
And then I also have a commercial cleaning business. So that's what keeps me busy in the evenings. Mainly just offices. And then I have my usual 9 to 5.
Of course, just slot that in
slot that amongst everything else,
Yeah,
amongst all the breathing and everything else I have to try and do.
All the trimming and the vacuuming. Yeah.
I'll also do a normal job. My normal job is actually insane because, fun fact, I suck at technology.
Yep.
Even just watching you set this stuff up in front of me was a heart attack. It was anxiety.
Can I just say, I plugged USBs into the computer.
Oh, and how? How did you do that?
It's a learned skill,
It was
I must
too
say.
much.
But yes, we know you're technically
Tech
not
dinosaur.
apt.
Tech dinosaur.
And I'm going to throw in as well a little bit uncoordinated.
Oh,
in
don't
case
even get me
anyone's
started.
wondering.
Don't even get me started on the coordinated. I had to stop Reformer Pilates because of that. But with my terrible technology skills, I actually surprisingly kill it at my tech sales job at Hey You. So, that's a surprise really for everyone. For myself, for my boss. On my resume, I write that I'm fantastic at technology. I've got no clue, guys.
It's one of those fake it till you make it type
Yeah,
situations.
100%.
But you're doing extremely
But I'm doing
well.
well, so, whatever.
Any cafe owners listening who want a connection, hit me up. I will put you in touch.
Yes, please.
But yes, so now you're in sales and you obviously have all these cool, fun things going on the side.
Yes,
And
definitely a fun and active, busy life.
So how did you get into the plants? Because that started during COVID. I know that was more of a recent venture.
Yeah.
How did that come about?
So with the plants, my dad was actually going through a little phase of potting a lot of plants for no apparent reason around the house. And then it got a bit out of control because there was too many. And then it was too cold, so he didn't feel like doing things in the garden anymore. And he was like, can you just do something with this stuff? I was like, okay, fine. I'll start a business.
Great.
So I got on Instagram and made
Wow.
a page. Remember I asked you as well.
did,
I was like,
you
how
did.
do I make a page and
then we
connect it to my other one?
We started talking about Pinterest and I was like, this is too much.
Pinterest was too much.
Let's just start 1 foot at a time.
One plant at a time.
One plant at one seedling.
And then, so I only have an Instagram page. It's plants_by_nads. Doesn't get more original. So I kind of just post my photos there, and I've had quite a surprising uptake of people who need plants and advice. So I'm happy to give both.
Cool. Well, we might have to do another episode on plant advice.
Oh, totally.
But no, I love that. It's nice to have something, whether it is like a business or a hobby, just something that takes you out of the grind.
100%.
What you're always doing. And if you're always with tech or in the office, corporate, that type of thing, if it's something to do with nature, that's great.
Just gives you a bit of time to breathe, really.
Yeah, which is why I love doing the boot camps. Like whilst ESFit has taken on a bit of an e-commerce online branch, we still have the physical boot camps, which keeps me outdoors.
Yeah.
So I love that. I totally get why that's stuck with you.
Yeah.
I guess I want to chat a little bit about, and for anyone who's just tuning in for the first time, or maybe you've only listened to a couple of episodes, I really just wanted to break down what is the actual balance theory and then ask Nadia what her, opinion of the whole thing is, because I know you've really been with us from the start. So basically I was thinking about the concept of work-life balance. And the whole framework for me made me feel like you had work in one category, life in another. They had to be 50-50 split and they couldn't be combined. And my issue with it was I was doing all this stuff in my spare time and my mum was like to me, you work too much. And I was like, but I'm doing my podcast, like I'm doing my business stuff and it's like so much fun. Like that's not work. My work is when I'm in the office, but technically it is work.
Yeah.
Like I'm not switching off or I'm not like being outdoors or whatever. And so for me, it was like this weird disconnect between they are blended, but they're technically not supposed to be. Am I not living my life enough? All this stuff. And until I came to the realization that this is not going to be my life forever. And right now I have these opportunities that allow me to give more time to these things. You know, I don't have kids. I don't have, you know, that many responsibilities other than myself and sometimes my partner. But I won't berate him on this podcast. But the whole point being that your balance is a unique combination of time spent in each of your areas across your health, relationships, and your fulfillment area. And to that point, like, I didn't call the last one career because I've read a lot of frameworks. I've, you know, seen them in books. I've listened to them at different talks or even on TED Talks and stuff. And they always call the last one career. And I just felt like that was so exclusive to people who worked. You know, when you have the majority of women, for example, or I shouldn't say that, a lot of women who are full-time mums, which in itself is a massive job. Like, yes, they're not financially remunerated for it, but it's something that when you talk about, when you talk about careers, it excludes them. Also excludes students, also excludes, you know, all these people that are doing fulfilling things but are not careers. So that's why I called that area fulfillment, because I think when we talk about it, we can't talk about just our jobs. We've got to talk about our hobbies as well. We've got to talk about things we're interested in. So anyway, that's the idea of the balance theory. And the point being, at any point in your life, you will chop and change between how much time you're devoting to each of those areas. Mm-hmm. So I guess what I want to know is, before listening to this podcast, what was your kind of take on balance, and how has that shifted over the last couple months?
Mm-hmm. So maybe like towards the beginning, like when we were at ES Fit, I was very conscious of my health, my well-being. Like, I always wanted to just be better than everyone. I'm a very hard worker myself, and I just always want to work harder than the person next to me, harder than the people around me. Yeah, I set extremely high standards for myself. Mm-hmm. Sometimes it's been a bad thing, but most of the time I find that it is something that really pushes me to just be better every single day. Mm-hmm. And I do love that. Like, I love to work hard at improving myself, you know. And with that, my idea of balance at the time, I think at the time when I was really, you know, inspired by having a balanced life, I was at uni, so I was constantly studying. And
full-time at uni?
Yeah, full-time at uni. Also had a job.
Yeah.
Also...
Which already is enough, full stop, say no more.
Trying to juggle uni, trying to juggle a job, trying to juggle staying fit, staying healthy, eating this, eating that. It was just all too much. Like, it was just eating away at my happiness and my joy. So slowly, I think it was ES Fit where I was like, I need to do some sort of fitness that takes me away from being home. Because I am big on training at home. Like, I think you can build your dream body in your... If you've got a house, you've got a gym. Like, that's
got a door, got a gym. That 100%, kind of thing. Yeah.
100%. So I was like, okay, I've got to give this other one a go. And then just getting out and seeing other people, socializing. It was a big it was just like a light bulb moment. Like, I need to do something away from my bubble, because I was really in my own little bubble. Like, I've got to do everything on my own, high standards. I can do this, I can do that. So it was just almost eating away at every other aspect. Like, uni was eating away at training was eating away at my family life was eating away from my work. So it was just, I just wasn't in the best place.
Yeah, and I feel like when you are too much in any area, whatever that means to you, right? Like, if you're a parent, you can't be too much in relationships or your family life, right? And so take this however it applies to you. But if you are excessive in any of the areas, it will start negatively impacting your other areas. I've seen it myself with, like, when I was calorie counting or really, really like strict with my training and dieting, like, I wasn't performing as well because I just like was so fixated.
Your mind was everywhere.
Yeah, well, I was just so fixated on the numbers and the scales that when I would go out and socialize, I wasn't having a good time because I was just thinking about like what I can't eat, what I can eat. So it did take away from other areas of my life. So at that point, did you think that that's what your balance, like that's what it meant to be balanced? You just had to do everything. Is that what you thought?
Yeah. So at the time I thought that if I am overloading myself with every single thing, then that's how it should be. Because I'm young, I've got the time. I don't have a family to look after. I don't have I don't have like a office job or, you know, like a real, not a real career, but like I didn't have
Hadn't started.
Yeah, just started, working. So I thought this is how it's meant to be.
And how did that sit with you? Thinking, okay, to be balanced is to do all the things, and then feeling like, you knew you were in a bubble and you could feel yourself getting exhausted. Like, how did that feel?
Literally exhausting. That's the only word. And I just hate the idea of being exhausted now. Like, now I've really realized, especially with the balance theory and the balance theory podcast, that the balance is just, it's holistic, it's ever changing, and you can enjoy balance. You don't have to do absolutely everything at absolutely every minute. I was telling you earlier how I was like reading a book on all these nifty tricks to improve your life. So I was doing about 50 nifty tricks and it was getting too much. So I was meditating and praying and journaling and doing 50 push-ups just to boost my endorphins in the morning and taking cold showers in the middle of winter. And it was just a bit too much. Yeah. So I realized, like, I don't actually have to do all of these things. Yeah. I can just do what feels right at the time. Yeah. Like now, I meditate maybe 5 to 10 minutes every single day. Mm-hmm. If I feel like journaling to get something off my chest, I'll journal on the rare occasion, maybe even once a fortnight. And, I've got my daily habits that, I don't know, I love to make my bed. I feel like I need to make my bed.
That's actually not something we ever include, but it's definitely a part of your morning routine.
100%.
Sets up like discipline, just a clean space, like very important.
Yes. So I make my bed in the morning because I think even if it's a terrible day, I come home and my bed is made.
There's nothing like
and I can just get under the sheets and just go to bed. That's it. Yeah. Put that day to rest.
Yeah, for
sure. So make my bed. I try and meditate usually before I train, just because I feel like it focuses me a bit more. Mm-hmm. I try to train maybe 4 to 5 times a week, which includes a bit of strength, a bit of running, a bit of this, a bit of that, moving around.
Mix it up,
whatever I feel like on the day.
Nice.
And then I just get along with my day. So usually I like to get my training done just to keep me focused, and then I eat a healthy breakfast and I'm on my merry way to do all the things that I do.
Love it. And I think you've raised a really key point, and this is why I love the variety of guests that I've had on the show, because each of them bring, whilst the majority of people have said that they meditate or exercise, like each of them have their own little quirks and their own little things that they do in the morning that vary from the other. And I think it just serves, like this whole podcast literally just serves as information for people to then trial and error different things themselves. So
100%.
Like, I don't want anyone to listen to any of the podcasts and be like, oh, I've got to do exactly that if I want to be like that, because you will burn out. You will think you have to do all the things, but I'm exactly like you. Like, I tried the journaling thing, and to be honest, I find it more therapeutic when I'm in the mood or I just feel like I need to do it.
100%.
Pick up the pen, just do it. But it's not something I do every day, but then I have the things I do every day, and there are things I do now that I didn't do last year. So it's just about as things pop up and you try them, you like them, you don't like them, you get over it, whatever it is. Like, just being open to the different things, and that's how you create your balance and ongoingly upkeep it. I'd say.
I totally agree with the getting over something, because maybe a couple months ago, so 2 of the things that really stood out for me in your podcast, 2 of the guests, one of them was Helen from Whole Health, because prior to that, I was trying to do high intensity training maybe 4 times a week, and that is just, I'm 5'2".
You got to eat a lot for that.
Exactly. I'm 5'2". I don't weigh an excessive amount, and I bought an Apple Watch. Wow, techno Nadia with an Apple Watch. And I was watching...
it wasn't like a Nintendo watch or something. What's that?
Funny. So I would check out, because I had my friends on my watch. Someone set that up for me. I'd be like, wow, she's doing the exact same workout as me, and she's like doing all these calories, but mine's like half of that. And it was just too much for me to handle, because I was like, why are all these people... Yeah, too much comparison. So I was like, maybe I need to train harder. So then I started waking up even earlier than I do. By the way, I wake up at 4:45.
Anything with a 4 is not a question in the question for me. Not.
Sometimes you get a lot done.
I'm sure you do.
The world is peaceful. So I was trying to do all these exercises and trying to keep up with people that are like 50 times stronger than me, 50 times healthier than me, taller than me, heavier than me, whatever. And I was just like, I couldn't keep up. I was like, why are these people beating me? So then when I was listening to Helen, she was saying something along the lines of, she was talking about why you do something.
Yeah.
So then it dawned on me that I was trying to just beat people who are running a completely different race. So I had to turn the notifications off. That's a big one.
Yeah.
Yep. Turn the notifications off so I don't know what they're doing, and just kind of run my own race and just do my own thing for myself. So now I do maybe 2 strength days, bit of Pilates. I run a lot now too. One of your guest listeners got me into that.
The run that was the Run Day Boys?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
shout out to them.
Yeah, big time. And then another one that stood out for me was
Before you go on to the next point, I just want to chime in because I think this is so important. Like, the idea that you need to compare to other people really takes you away from your why, because it becomes no longer a question of being present with yourself and what you want to achieve, and more about just keeping up with the Joneses, you know. And when it comes to your health and fitness, it's really silly when you think about it, because your health is such a personal thing to then, you know, try and piggyback on someone else's journey who brings with them a completely different, you know, spectrum of experiences and goals and you know, just different preferences, is like you're already setting yourself up for failure almost. But I think that's a good tip. Like, if you feel like you're constantly comparing yourself to people's training, maybe like not checking in on their socials or turning off your watch notifications is a good way to kind of not feel like disheartened with your own efforts. But bringing back the why are you doing something, very important.
100%. So at the moment, I'm happy to say that I'm probably the fittest and the happiest I've ever been.
Woo,
a big shout out to me, you know, doing the right things. So it really was just focusing on what works for me, what I need. You know, I like to run not just for the fitness, it's also like it's almost meditative or like a mental health type thing. Really gives you a break, because the only thing you can focus on is
legs.
I need to breathe and I need to keep moving.
It's actually a good point, because like it's like when you're in an ice bath, you actually can't focus on anything else, which is why they're good tools to use to like for mental health. So love that.
Totally.
Love that. So you were going to tell me about a second guest that really stood out.
So another thing that I really liked in one of the podcasts was habit stacking.
Oh, how good was that?
That was fantastic.
One of my favorites too.
100%. I think it was episode 22 with Hayley.
Geez, you're better than I am. Yeah, I think that's right.
I did my homework. And then, so I really like the idea of habit stacking. And one thing that I've kind of started incorporating into my life is just to move, even if I'm like just daily movement. So even if I'm not doing a big workout during the day, I like to wake up, do my little meditation, and then do 20 reps of anything. So whether it be like 10 push-ups and 10 burpees, great, or like 20 squats, great. I've done something. I've moved.
Better than nothing.
Yeah. So, you know, just kind of gets you moving, gets the blood flowing, gives you a little morning stretch. So so that was another one that I really liked.
So you've then just stacked that onto your normal morning routine. So you've already got your morning routine. You just include that on top. Yeah, love that. No, and for anyone who hasn't listened to that episode yet, habit stacking was basically if you are trying to incorporate a new habit, or like, you know, there's something you want to incorporate into your daily routine, try and find something you already do every single day and stack that habit onto the old one, so that half the effort's already there. So for example, if you want to practice being grateful, right? And that for you is you're going to just think of 3 things in your mind. Think of something you do every single day. Maybe it's making your bed. Maybe it's brushing your teeth or walking to the bus or the train. Pick that time to mentally go through what you're doing. Because something like brushing your teeth is not much thought. You just do it on autopilot. So you could really use that time to just be in your head and thinking, you know. So that's basically what that is. But that's probably one of my key takeaways from all my episodes as well. So I'm really glad you picked up on that too.
Love it.
And I love that your idea of balance is now just something that's working for you. Like, that makes me so happy. That's why I've done this podcast. It's just to, you know, equip people to own their own balance, understand what's working for them, and be critical of it too. It's not to say you listen to the podcast, you're going to be a balance guru. I'm certainly not. I'll be the first one to say that. But it's about having that openness and being like, you know what? I can challenge my beliefs. I can challenge my norms. I can adapt and like try out new things, and that's cool. And it's always a puzzle moving piece
100%.
situation. So,
and it's not, 100%. It's not rigid. So maybe next week I'm going to try journaling every single day. That's
who
fine.
knows?
Who's going to stop me?
And no one's checking up on you either.
Yeah, exactly.
That's a thing. Like,
you have to be accountable for yourself.
Yes, and that's
Jinx.
it. Just a quick word from the sponsor of today's podcast. If you haven't paid any attention to the quality of your gym accessories or feel like the ones you have kill your vibe just a little, then this is for you. ESFit is a brand I've co-founded with my best friend to bring all fitness lovers the confidence to sweat in style. I'm talking considered luxe fitness accessories, ranging from cotton bands that don't roll or dig to full-size sweat towels that cover you from head to toe and actually don't take up all the space in your bag. The list goes on, but you can check it all out for yourself at esfit.com.au or on Instagram at esfit_. And for all my beautiful balancers, we're offering $15 off at the checkout when you use the code BALANCE. Okay, so when we were chatting originally, I did ask you to share with me some of the most profound, I guess, points that you've now integrated into your own life. Mm-hmm. And one of the things we spoke about, and I don't want to limit this to a single podcast because I feel like so many people have spoken about this, and 100%. It's something I'm really, really passionate about too. It's the idea of having to fill your own cup up before you can give to others. Mm-hmm. And I know so many people have this self-guilt when it comes to self-care, you know, and one of my guests called it the mum guilt. Mm-hmm. For mums listening, I'm sure you know exactly what I'm talking about, and just anyone else in general. Maybe you're just so busy, you don't spend enough time with your family, whatever it is, anything you feel guilty for, that you feel like when you do things for yourself, even if it's just taking time out to relax, you feel guilty, like you should be doing other things. Now, filling your cup up is so important because then you're coming from a full place. So, you know, you've got two situations. The first is you're completely burnt out and you know you've got to go see your mum and dad. You haven't seen them in a week. You go there and you're basically half present because you're exhausted. Everything they're saying is just annoying you.
Picking a fight,
yeah,
basically.
Because you're just tired and you don't really want to be there, but you feel like you have to be there. That's scenario A, but you've gone and seen your parents. Mm-hmm. Scenario B is, you know what, mum and dad, I am exhausted. I really need to take this night for myself. You rest, you recharge, and you go and see them the next night or the next week, and you're fully present and there.
100%.
Now people feel guilty.
That so much more.
Right. But in the moment, these feelings of obligations, and any wogs listening know what I'm talking about.
Oh, God.
The obligations in the family. You know, like you've got two options there. You can go and whatever, like keep your promise or whatever that means for you and your family. But like you really are going to be half present. So, you know, you need to decide what's better for you. But that's just a simple example of what we mean by filling a cup up first. So then you can give more to other people. So now I'm going to hand the mic over. Mm-hmm. Why don't you tell me a little bit about how that's made an impact on your life?
Mm-hmm. So in terms of filling the cup, I absolutely am for it. You must be selfish. Be selfish. Fuck it. You know?
Yeah.
Who's there to stop you? You need to look after yourself before you can look after anyone else. And so me personally, I give a lot of love wherever I go. I like to, you know.
She did. She brought a candle over.
Well,
unwarranted.
I'm a wog, and it was the first time I was coming inside your new home, so I had to. But yeah, so I bring a lot of love and I try and give as much as I can where I see fit. Mm-hmm. I have very high standards in terms of my own personal life and my work life as well. And I just need to protect myself, you know, because that's a lot of energy that I have to give out to people.
Yeah.
So I've got my family to look after. I've got my beautiful boyfriend to look after. I've got my friends that I have to juggle as well. You know, they've got jobs that are not 9 to 5. So it's like, are you free for 10 minutes today? And she's like, yeah, okay. So we make it work.
And on that point, having people that, you know, understand you
100%.
And respect that if you don't text them back in 5 minutes is cool is so important.
Oh, I will not text you back for weeks. Don't you worry. I need to learn to unlock my phone before I can text you back.
What is Face ID?
Oh, I don't even have it.
I knew it.
So giving well over 100% into my day. So I that's what I use my first couple of hours of the morning for, to fill my cup. So all these things that I do in the morning, I do it for myself to keep me grounded, to keep me sane. I love things being tidy. So when I wake up, if something's a mess, I quickly tidy that up, make my bed, do my this, do my that, meditate, work out. So by, say, 8:30, just before I have to start work, I am fully charged, fully present, very ready. I don't really waste my time using, like, I know I'm a suck at technology, but in terms of that, like, the spare time that I do have, I don't watch a lot of Netflix.
Probably helps if you don't know how to get on the homepage.
I've got it bookmarked. So I don't spend a lot of time on Netflix. I'm not constantly scrolling through Instagram. A lot of the notifications are off.
Yeah.
Another thing you taught me was the do not disturb.
Yes.
That's the best thing in the world.
Yeah, it is. For anyone who hasn't used that, if you have your phone like out or on for work, just putting on do not disturb means it won't pop up with the notifications, and you can still check your phone and they'll all be on the home screen, but it's not like lighting up.
Yes.
The only thing I would say though is if you're getting incoming calls, it will automatically cut them off. So if you're expecting or making calls, like, obviously not the best feature, but if you're just like doing computer stuff, it's the best thing. And then you can just self-discipline check when you need to.
Totally. I love it. It's the best thing.
Yeah.
So just with because I've got, like, high standards, lots of love, I have high quality downtime.
Yeah.
So, and my friends all know it, my family all know it too. Like, if I need some time off, I definitely
stand away.
Yeah. Chill the fuck out before you burn the fuck out. That's for sure.
Should hashtag that, make it a shirt or something.
I'll make the shirt. That's it.
Sure. No, that's good. But I do want to ask you, do you feel like, even though you have this high quality self-care downtime, do you still feel like you fall into those moments where you feel that guilt, where you feel like you're giving from an empty place? Because I don't know, I'm only asking you because I know that I'm exactly the same. I have my priorities in the morning where I fill up my cup, and sometimes the day is just crazy,
Totally.
and you just get emptied so fast, and then you still have to give, and you're just coming from this place of emptiness. So it's then like, you've got to make more time to recharge. If not, you just never catch up and you end up
100%.
going in a burnout loop.
It's just exhaustion.
Yeah. So, I mean, what are your kind of go-tos, or what do you do when you start to feel like that?
So totally agree. I think humans just love predictability, but sometimes when we do have a spanner in the works, you just don't know what to do. Sometimes I'll be completely honest, I'll just freak out and not know what to do. I'll just be like, okay, I'm just going to go to bed.
Yeah.
If I can't
it's mental
do
rest.
that, 100%. If I can't do something like that, then I will try to give as much as I can at that time. And just before bed, I'll just remind myself, like, hey, it was a day, whether it was a good day or a bad day, it was a day, you're alive, you're above the ground. Take
Gratitude.
the rest. Yeah, take the rest. And then tomorrow is a new day where we can recharge again and just, give a little more.
That's right. And get into your freshly made bed at the end of the day.
Oh, yeah, that bed's already made, so.
But I think one of, like, gratitude definitely at the end of, like, a crazy day. And the other thing is, like, be realistic with what's in your control.
Yeah.
Like, often we get so, and this actually happened to me last week, like, you get so worked up about things that are not even in your control. So you just need to reel it back and say, like, you did the best you could with the information you had or knowledge you had at the time.
100%.
And you'll just deal with it moving forward. Like, things will always work out in the end. So, yeah it's just about...
Don't dwell on it, What's done is done. That's it. Keep going. Keep
just
moving
recharge
forward.
Just don't let that day go and then forget about it. You do need... I actually look at my energy like an iPhone battery. Like, if I've wasted it all, I can't just just push on and do the next day. I've got to recharge
100%.
somehow. So if I've already done my morning routine, like, I have to do something that night or at least that week, clear my schedule. If that means cancelling plans, just get it done. Like, you need to recharge. If not, you end up just going so far in the burnout road. There's a little prospect
it's hard to come back.
of turning back. Yeah. Now, one of the other things you did mention to me was your need to be in control of everything. Or I don't know if that's current or past or sometimes, but why don't you talk to me a little bit about that? Because I feel like it's a very shared experience, this desire. And I feel like with people who are high performers, have high standards for themselves, it's quite a natural thing that comes with that. you're feeling like you're responsible for a lot of things, that you need to be in control and kind of coordinate. Well, maybe coordination is not the right word for you.
Yeah.
But, have a little bit of control over the things around you. So why don't you talk to me a bit about that and what that means for your balance, either past or present?
Yeah, so that was a great way to put it, by the way. So especially with me just trying to always do so well, I found that me trying to be in control of all the little things in my life was starting to have a really bad outward impact. So there was a few new people coming into my life, people that I'm not really familiar with or not familiar with how they do things. And because I am a little bit, I like to call it anal retentive. I don't think I have OCD, but we'll name it something. So it started having
high
a bit
attention
of
to detail.
Oh, we'll put that one on the resume. So it started kind of having like a domino effect. And the worst part was that it was having this negative impact on the people that were the closest to me.
Yeah. So
family members, I'm not going to name exactly who, but mostly family members and just people that I'm with on a daily basis. So
can you give me an example of
So I like things to be really tidy, and I was somewhere and things were a bit messy, and I was like, oh, why don't you just tidy it up?
Yeah.
Why don't you just...
Yeah, just putting your
why don't you just sweep it
preferences
off?
on others.
Yeah, 100%. So I was like, I went home and I'm like, why do they do this like that? Why do they not just tidy up? What's wrong with that? Or my sister, she's 10 years younger than me, so I'm basically her mum. She'll come and show me something and be like, this is so funny, please watch it. And it's not funny. I'm like, how? Why are you watching this stuff? Like a mum. I'm like, why are you watching this stuff? But then I was speaking to someone who I met. She's a psychologist, and I was telling her all these problems not these problems, but just my anal retentive tendencies. I don't know, if I could, this is annoying me. I just want it to be like this. And she just looked at me and was like, you need to chill the fuck out, because no one is your duplicate. And you just need to live and let live. So I love that. That is definitely a brain tattoo that I have. Every single day I have to wake up and tell myself that I need to live and let live. So basically, I live my own life the way I want to live my life, and the people around me, they can do whatever they want, because I am absolutely not in control of their life.
Yeah. And it's quite freeing when you embrace that. Right?
100%.
Because if you, and back to what you were saying about the negative impact, once you start feeling like you don't have control, because let's face it, you only have control over your own actions. So if you live in this world where you feel like external things to you should be in your control, you're already on edge.
100%.
And then it starts spilling over into your attitude, your mood, and then the way you do things are probably not going to be to your standard, and you therefore are out of control of even your own actions. So
you're hitting the nail on the head.
Yeah,
it was so
I've been
stressful.
I've been there before.
Just unnecessary stress on your life.
And then you end up being in this reactive state where the smallest things will just pee you off, And
God.
Yeah, I know. Trust me. Forks in the sink. That's don't go there. But
that's another podcast.
Yeah.
Anal retentive, Nadia and Erica.
Let me know, guys, if you want to hear that or not. But no, it's very freeing when you just accept that everyone is just doing the best they can at that time. And I'm actually going to bring the making your bed situation. So I was chatting to a girlfriend of mine, and we were talking about, I said something like, I can't leave my house unless my bed is made. And that's not just sheets pulled up. It has to be no creases. The pillows have to look nice. I want it to just look crisp. So
100%.
when I get home, it feels fresh. And she's like, the way I was raised was we leave the doona, everything open, so the bed airs during the day, which I thought in itself was an interesting concept, because I feel like it feels cleaner if it's shut. But then her argument also had merit.
Yeah.
So I was a bit like, you know what? Everyone just comes from things, how they've been raised and the way they're wired. And so everyone's just doing things to the best of their ability at that point in time. When you accept that, it's so fucking freeing, because you're just like, okay, they're just doing their best. Yep, it's not how I would have done it. Yeah, but at the end of the day, what is it to you? You're still doing what you want, how you want. And if you live with a bunch of people, then you kind of know what you signed up for.
Yeah.
There's not, unless you live by yourself, then that's one thing. If it's, I will say the only exception to this is group assignments, because when people don't pull their weight, and that's out of your control, but that still annoys me.
Yeah.
That's probably my only exception to the rule.
Thank God we don't do that anymore.
Yeah. But in general, like just having that mindset and just being comfortable with your own decisions and what you're in control of is very, very freeing, and allows you then to embrace your balance and your areas in just different ways.
Totally. Like I just found I was being way too hard on myself.
Yeah.
And it was just...
It's unrealistic, right?
Totally. So definitely more balanced now, more zen. I've put my hands in prayer for the people who can't see me. But definitely more freeing. So just live and let live.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Love that. Now to finish, I want to know, what do you want to see more of?
I want to see more podcasts, 100%. Keep them coming.
I will keep them coming. That's guaranteed for sure. But anything specific that you feel like could just fit nicely with our framework?
Maybe with your guests that come on, maybe in terms of what they... kind of where they come from, maybe asking them like a book recommendation or maybe a quote or something that they really like or that they resonate with.
Yeah. I always love piling on the book recommendations, and It's funny that you've said that, because before I started the podcast and thinking about what it was going to be, because I read a lot, I was thinking I should just start just like doing book reviews, but then I was like, if I'm doing one podcast a week, that's a book a week, like I just can't commit to that right now. But no, definitely. If anyone listening does want to hear some book reviews ongoingly, or me getting that suggestion from guests, definitely let me know.
And maybe something a bit more interactive, because I really, really loved that initial episode that was like, rate your life.
Yeah, like an activity, doing an activity
even
together.
Like I don't know if you want to call it this might be my business brain, but a SWOT analysis. So like a personal strengths and weaknesses type thing. And that might be something that people would really want to know about themselves, or they might learn something about themselves that way.
Yeah.
Get them thinking.
Well, I mean, if I end up doing a Monday Muse on a personal SWOT analysis, you can trademark this conversation.
Perfect. That's it.
Well, before we go, do you have any book suggestions for us?
Oh my God, book recommendation for
Let's
me.
kick it off. Yeah.
Oh, so it started already. I think one of the books that I really have loved, I've read it multiple times, is called... The Happiness Advantage by Sean Actor, I think.
Yep.
But yeah, definitely a book that really just hones in on happiness and just making sure that, you stay grateful and you make the most of your time.
Love it. Well, I'll definitely add that to my list as well. And I lied. I do have one more question. For anyone who hasn't really listened to all the episodes yet, if you had to pick 2 episodes that they absolutely had to listen to, non-negotiable, which ones would they be? And it can be ones you've spoken about already today.
Non-negotiable, and you should probably listen to them. I actually really enjoyed the one with Giuliano, because he was really left to feel.
Yeah.
Yes, I loved it, because I resonate quite a bit with him. Like, I'm relentless like that too.
Yeah.
If things are not serving me, bye.
Yeah.
That's it.
I feel like that's a good one if you need some just
someone to kick you in the butt.
Yeah, like a bit of abrupt advice. He's very like, no bullshit kind of mindset. So, and if you're into business as well, I feel like that was a good one. Yeah. Good.
And one that I really loved, because I just found it really wholesome and grounding, was the one with your friend Nick from Run Day.
From Run Day, yeah.
So I actually started going to Run Day, and I was like hoping that maybe I'll bump into him and be like, hey, I loved your podcast. But now I'm actually just at Run Day chasing my PB and yet to meet Nick. So Nick, if you're there, come to Bay Run.
Come get your Nadia.
Yeah, come chase after me.
Oh, good. Yeah, no, that was also a good one. It was I think a nice discussion
like a
on
clarifying one.
Spirituality, on finding your purpose, that sort of thing. Well, I'm glad you answered that and you didn't ask me, because I find it hard picking and choosing, because I feel like there's so many takeaways. But no, that's good. That's a good place to start if you just want to listen to 2 to get a bit of a taste for what has happened in the last 30 or so episodes. So definitely go and check them out. But I just want to thank you so much for your time. It was really nice chatting today and getting to know a little bit more about you and how you've connected to the podcast. And I'm really, really glad we did this.
Well, I'm so glad I'm here supporting you in real time, actual support.
Yeah, not just vicariously and
not just the only 5-star rating I can give.
Speaking of, if you haven't left a review, get onto it.
Oh yeah, I know how to do that. That's
yeah,
one
yeah.
thing I can do.
Did I send you a screen recording?
I think you did. Yeah.
Yeah.
This
Well,
is
if
how
anyone
you do
needs
it.
that, let me know. So thank you again for your time and for sharing all your personal, insights into the show and your life today. And I can't wait to see how much more or less tech savvy you get as the years roll on.
No worries.
And if anyone needs some plants, let me know.
Oh yeah, the plants are easy to look after.
Thanks, Nads. And that's a wrap for this week, Balancers. Thank you so much for tuning in. I hope you found this episode useful to some degree in either steering or determining your definition of balance today. As always, the biggest compliment for us is if you share this episode with someone who you feel might need it, or if you're on Spotify, you can click follow, or on Apple Podcasts, you can leave a rating or review. If you have any suggestions for up and coming podcasts, feel free to shoot us a DM or an email. Our Instagram is @thebalancetheory and our email is thebalancetheorypodcast@gmail.com. Otherwise, you've always got the option of subscribing to our mailing list. We only send you email reminders when the episodes drop, so you get them fresh out of the oven. No annoying spam, we promise. I hope you enjoy the rest of your week, and until next time, stay balanced.